Welcome to the Soul Tribe Podcast. The Soul Tribe Podcast was created to help you navigate through the world of spirituality, wellness, and self-development in an easy, grounded, and relatable way. We break down everything from the Akashic Records, manifesting, spirituality, and so much more. We want to help expand your boundaries and bring the spiritual world to you in a fun and easy way. Get ready to be inspired with tips, tools, and easy to digest information. Let's do this.
Hey Soul Tribe podcasters, Lucia here. Today's episode is about your body and about earth and about health. We wanted to kind of bring in the aspect of the body and seeing it from a different perspective or a different point of view than we're usually used to. And I think it's a really good moment to talk about it because of everybody's health scare issues through what we're going through right now. But before we get into the episode, I thought it was a good idea that we both kind of talked about where we are in our personal lives so people can, catch up. We have been doing the Akashic Records Level 1 course. We're on our second class coming this weekend. The second class will start. The first class, they did great. They were amazing. And it was it was so fun to teach them. I'm really excited about the next class. We have really amazing people. Well, I don't personally know them, but they seem very amazing. And I'm sure they are. So we're excited to teach them. Our goal is to try to teach Akashic Records Level 1 once a month, one class a month. So we don't want to fill up the groups too much because we're literally in the class, we're giving one-on-one advice and going through everybody and how they're feeling it or experiencing it. So the classes, we don't want them to get too big because we want to maintain it with that vibe and that assistance. So
especially the supported class, like the last class, which is like the week after you finish your Sunday class, is all about you having practice that week. And then you going into the class and being like, well, I struggled with this, or this came easy, or these are the messages I got, and being able to share it with the group and everybody learn from each other. So that's why we can't have the groups be too big, because we go through each person one-on-one and we help them and assist them. And then we've also created, support behind the scenes for that. So if anybody has questions, they can come to the group or to us if they need. And, we want it to be very easy for people to just see it in a very organized fashion, very down-to-earth information that is spiritual, obviously, but in its own way is relatable. Just like the podcast, we don't want it to be something that it just makes no sense, So I think that's what most people came back with in the last class, and they understood all the material, they got it, and they're already diving in with it. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
Just so cool to see the progress and the process everybody's going through.
And that's an additional extra step that we've been discussing that we didn't take, and we took it, which I think is not a coincidence with right the same week we finished our first class and decided we're going to start doing this once a month. You had something personal pop up for you. So you want to maybe share that with everybody?
Yeah. So yesterday, I don't know, a lot of people think you're from the United States, so this might not make any sense, but I was basically made redundant at my job. So what does that mean? That means that they no longer needed me because of everything that's going on and the global situation that's happening with coronavirus. And yeah, I think this is a sign for us to really dive in deeper with our work, with Akashic record readings, with teaching, and with putting out material that's going to help everybody, help the collective consciousness, because it's needed. This is the moment. There's no more waiting. And I think, a lot of the projects that we're working on with Lucia at the moment, and that we've been working on for a few months now, a lot were stalled or delayed because I was too busy. And Lucia's busy in her own way with Aurora, but we can always find time. She can always find time, but I was struggling between everything we were going through, and now it feels like, it's kind of crappy in a way, because it's like, you know, years of my life at a job, but at the same time I know there's a reason for this, and I'm trusting it. I trust the universe, I trust my guides, my masters, and I know it's going to be okay. So yeah, so hopefully we can level up now a little bit more.
Yeah,
for everybody.
This is good news for me because I get more Lorena time. But yeah, I of course I'm busy with Aurora, but I've mastered the art of working while hearing Frozen in the background. Yeah, that's how I function now. But it's okay. But yeah, I don't believe in coincidences, and if anybody out there is going through something similar, like fearing that they might lose their job, or they already have lost their job, or look around you and see what they're trying to tell you. What are your guides trying to tell you? Where are they trying to push you towards? Nothing that's not supposed to happen is going to happen. I really believe that, and everything has a greater purpose, whether it's here to teach you something, to help you value something else, or to help you, in your case, Lorena, put you towards another path full on. That's what your soul's here to do, right?
Completely. And I truly believe that in my core. It's just the shock, right? It's like, whoa. It's just been like literally, and it was very abrupt. It wasn't like, yeah, next week you're not coming to work. And it was like right now. And I was like, wow, okay, there's a reason for this. That felt even more, like more purposeful in a way. Like, it's not, you can't keep waiting. Like, you have to do it now. That's kind of the message that I received through it, I guess.
And so
but
then
it feels aligned.
Because of that,
sure.
We have more time to dedicate to the episodes and all the projects we were looking at and teaching. So the other good news is that we've been talking about it for a while, and we've now decided, now that you have more time, that we can start creating more amazing material to add to a Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is, because we started creating the material now and we'll start recording, the goal is to launch it in a month. And we want to make it low cost so that anyone can sign up that's you know, starving for more episodes, more audio, more information. We're still thinking of doing things like channeled messages there, or additional channeled messages, additional episodes, and teaching material on there. So we're currently going through the process of channeling for that. The masters and guides are kind of feeding us what they want to put on the Patreon. So it's kind of in their hands, and we're just the vessels that communicate the stuff that they want to get out there. So yeah, we'll keep you guys posted on how that goes. But it's like, feels really exciting because, I don't know, it's like the next step up for us. And yeah, my comfort zone was very comfortable now, and I was ready to push past that now.
Yeah, I've been feeling that too. And like, I don't know if everybody knows, but this podcast, we literally just like, we prepare it, we channel it, we record it. I spend time editing it. We launch it. We do social media. Like, we put so much heart and soul into this podcast, and like our happiness is you guys receiving this message. But at the same time, I feel like we want to level up and be able to help in a different way. But, you know, it's hard. Like, neither of us have a job now. So, you know, we need to figure out a way to help as much as possible, but at the same time, somehow energetically receive something back. So I think this is also so strange, but so amazing that we've already been talking about this before I even lost my job. It's like we knew it was coming. It's so weird. It's like this can help us, and it can help you, and it just feels aligned. I don't know. It just all feels so. Sorry, I'm a little bit like, woo.
It happened yesterday. You're a little emotional about it. Yeah. It's okay.
No, I'm not. Like, I actually don't feel emotional today. I feel okay. I think the whole like, like the whole meaning behind it's coming to me today. Yesterday, it just felt like, why is this happening? Like, I felt a little angry even.
It's funny because when you woke up, of course, when you wake up, I've already been working for a few hours on the podcast stuff because we have different time zones. So usually you wake up to a bunch of messages. I usually go to sleep and you're messaging me because you're in the middle of working. So when I wake up, I have a bunch of messages from you. But like, you woke up and I had my records open because I was actually channeling stuff for episodes, 4 different episodes I wanted to do on the Patreon. So they had me sitting down channeling, and then you messaged me and I forgot what you said, something about like morning, I'm sipping my coffee, I'm going to sit down and edit things for the podcast. And I said, good morning, welcome to your first day as an employee of the Soul Tribe podcast. And it wasn't even me, like I wasn't even planning on saying that. It was like the masters kind of got me to type that. So it was, yeah.
But I think, like Lucia said, if anybody's going through all this, you know, maybe a similar situation, maybe you don't find the meaning behind it, just really feel it out. You know, first of all, let yourself feel the feelings. So I think that's important. I've let myself do that, and I might go through ups and downs, and that's okay. That doesn't mean I don't accept the situation. It just means you can't keep things inside, right? But at the same time, it's like, it kind of reminds me of the episode that we did previous with Christos and Foster, where at one point it says, like, ask yourself, are you happy? Are you really happy with what's going on? And maybe this is all a gift. And in a sense, it's the universe pushing you to do what you have to do that you're not courageous enough to do on your own. And maybe that's part of what happened to me too, right? Like, you know, I've been pushed into this direction that now I need to focus fully on this. And this is a blessing for both of us, right? So yeah, I don't know. It's not about being positive necessarily, but it's like looking for the meaning behind, you know, what's happening, I think. Being a little bit more profound about it instead of just staying on this 3-dimensional plane of like, I just lost my job, everything's going to crap. Like, no, like there's always a meaning behind everything.
Yeah.
Truly.
Okay, I think we've bored everybody enough for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm getting all deep here.
Let's get into the episode. All right, so we're kind of meshing together two concepts. The human body and the soul purpose or soul contract. So that's the idea of this episode, to mesh those two together and understand things a little bit more. But I think that, let's state first, the body is a being, or well, a material.
A vessel.
A vessel, okay, yeah, let's call it a vessel. It's a vessel that is found on the third dimension. So you're currently in the third dimension. It'll never leave the third dimension. Even if you astral travel, if you have the ability to go to other places, whatever it is that you might have an ability to do, if you do or not, your body stays here. Your body never leaves. So your body was created, yeah, created here via reproduction. It lives its lifespan here, and then when the soul ends the incarnation, which is the death of the body then is cremated, buried, whatever. It ends up decomposing and becoming part of Earth. So the body is in itself Earth. It's a part of Earth. It belongs to Earth. It's part of Earth, and it will always be on Earth, and it will never go anywhere else besides Earth, right? Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I just want to explain, like, what is the third dimensional plane?
Okay.
Because I think that concept might not be clear to everybody. And the third dimensional plane is this world that we're in. It's what we can see, what we can touch. Like this box, I can grab this box, I touch it. That's 3-dimensional. It's what you can see. Just to contrast it, we're going to get into that in a second, just so you can see the difference. It's like when Lucia and I connect to the Akashic Records, that's 5th dimensional. That's in the 5th dimension. That's 5th dimensional energy. That's why it's high vibrational. And that is why we're able to receive messages through that. But this third dimension, it's like there are things around us that we don't see. There's radio waves. There's probably other beings around us and souls that we can't see in this third dimensional plane, because we're given this third dimensional way of seeing, and our skin is 3D. Like everything's 3D. If you can look at it that way, I guess it makes sense. But it's like a box. You're constrained in a box. That's how I see it. It's like you can't see outside of that. But there are 4th, 5th dimension. I even believe there's a 6th dimension and higher, maybe, that we just don't. We're learning about and understanding.
It's like 6 and 7. 7, I think 7 would be considered where like the all massive creator would be. Call him what you want. I think they would be in 7, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
But this third dimension is like, it's like what you see is what you get. That's how I like to think about it, I guess. I don't know if that's how you would define it, Lou, but.
Yeah, and I like what you said there. like it's like it's 3D, right? And you're stuck in that reality for the time being. And that reminded me of the experience I had when I was young. Do you remember my story when I was around 7 years old and I was playing? Like I was distracted playing, and I ran into the room that we shared together at the time. I ran into the room, and we had this long mirror up like at the top of the stairs. And I remember I caught my image in the mirror, and for some reason I went, "Oh, I'm stuck." And like I remember not recognizing myself in the mirror. I remember till this day like it happened yesterday, because the feelings that I had, I could never forget them. I remember touching my body and not realizing what this feels weird. What is this? Like I went through this, and it felt like 25 minutes of my life. It must have been like 2 minutes probably or something. But like I remember feeling totally and completely stuck and saying, "This isn't me. Who's this? Whose face is this? Whose body is it? What is this? What even is this?" And I just asked myself so many questions. And I was 7. Like
So young.
and it was so weird. And I never really I felt stuck. I remember feeling the biggest feeling I had, besides wondering, trying to understand what was happening and where I was. I remember feeling stuck when I saw myself in the mirror. I felt stuck, and I was like, I gotta get out. I don't belong here. And I started kind of like freaking out a little bit. And then it ended. At some point it ended, and I walked off, and I continued being a child, right? But when I got one of my first ever Akashic Records reading, on top of the list of asking about my dream premonitions and other stuff, I asked at some point about that experience. And I remember the reader telling me, you saw yourself the way you really were, a soul in a human body. You weren't able to recognize the new body you were given, and you had sort of like a moment of awakening, and it was really hard to kind of like shake it off, right? But you just saw yourself the way you really are, what you really are, and you're a soul. And so that's the feeling you're saying. Like you're stuck in this dimension, this third dimension. That's
like a box.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I remember feeling that. And so I never had experience similar like it to before, but I remember it so clearly.
Yeah. Doesn't mean we're necessarily stuck. That's not what I'm trying to say here. We're able to travel to other dimensions, I think. Definitely, like, even astral travel, which I feel like I do. I'm trying to get into that a little bit more. I've been told by a few people that I'm like a time traveler, which is weird, but I can believe that. So it's not like our body's physically stuck. The physical form is stuck, but our mind, our spirit, our soul isn't. It's not stuck here.
Yeah.
Not if we don't want it to be.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's talk about another aspect of the body. So now we know the body is in a third dimension. Now we know the body belongs to Earth, and it's just kind of lent to us. It's borrowed. Earth says here's this physical body that can be a portal for you to learn and have experiences, right? Let me lend that over to you, but when you're done with it, soul, and you move on, give it back to me, and we'll make it come back into Earth, which is the decomposition, or if it's cremated, it goes into the ocean or whatever. At some point it'll get back to Earth, but it stays on Earth, right? So that's really important for us to remember, that we have to respect these borrowed bodies that we were given, because we're so stuck in our today and in our worries and our human brain worries, that we forget that we're not just this body,
Yeah. That's been my whole struggle my whole life, I think. And now that we're more on this, I'm more on this Akashic Records journey, I realize that more and more, and I feel that more and more. But I even like just feeling completely disconnected from your body, like the whole like needing to ground your body and all that. It's like even I think this could happen to many people, and it's happened to me. Like you said, looking in the mirror, and it's like you don't recognize yourself. It's like, who is this? It's like, what is this form? And I think a lot of people, and I feel that I have my Akashic Records open, but they're saying a lot of people might struggle with accepting their bodies because of past things as well. It's like, oh, this is my body now. I'm a woman now. Like, I think I felt that struggle for a while. It's like accepting that I'm this feminine figure in this life, because maybe I had a lot of manly or masculine energies before this life. But I think that's like a struggle people have, accepting their bodies. Like, why are, and I think that's also social and all that, but I think a lot of it might be residual from a previous life of man, I had a different body before, now I have to accept this body, and there might be some type of cellular memory with that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Souls tend to prefer to choose one sex over another. They feel more comfortable with one sex over the other. It could be because that's just the way it is. They vibe better with that energy. Or it could be because they've had so many repetitive lives and, for example, a man's body, that then all of a sudden now they're new to the woman body and they just don't feel comfortable and they're a little awkward about it. It could be that, for example. But that there's a preference, there usually is a preference. That's true. It seems to be a thing for the soul, but the soul switches on purpose because there's lessons to be had from being a man and a woman. And I do think that those individuals whom seek out feminine bodies, they're here to help the gender and power of our times, because the new age that's coming in now, like in a year and a half, women are going to have more power. And I don't mean power over like control. I'm using it a different way. I mean power as in our words will be heard more. We'll be able to speak out more. Our thoughts and our feelings will be more considered than before. And those souls that chose to incarnate in women's body, we're also accepting to be part of that. We're accepting to try to help awaken the feminine energy of Earth, which is the intuitive energy at the same time, right?
Well, that's needed now. That feminine energy is what's going to heal this planet. It's going to heal this Earth. So that's why there's going to be this push now to do that, because it's been so masculine oriented that, you know, there needs to be a change. We can't continue the way we've been. And that's something I think that was very clear with other podcast episodes with like Christos and Foster. Like, there needs to be a change.
Yeah. And so let's talk about, so we've said that the body's from the third dimension. Let's talk about where's the soul's home? Where's the soul originally from? And that's the fifth dimension. The soul's original home would be the fifth dimension. It's a higher vibrational dimension. Your consciousness expands there. And let's say that tomorrow you part ways with your body. It goes through a process, obviously, of reawakening. But once it's fully awake, the soul remembers previous incarnations. The soul remembers previous lessons, all the wisdom it has, all that stuff that it forgot once it entered the body. It reawakens to it after cleansing out things from, because you kind of residually carry with you right after leaving incarnation. You residually carry with you some things which you drop little by little with a process on the other side. But once you're fully dropped all that, you're awakened to all the experiences that you've had as a soul. You're awakened to what you really are and your capabilities, and you have passions on the other side too, things that you love and want to do as a soul. You wake up to all those things, right?
Yeah, and I think that's also, I always see the duality of everything with this. It's just realize the contrast of the third dimension body, this form, this vessel, and then the fifth dimension soul incorporating into that body, and how we as humans, well, souls in this human experience, can feel that duality at moments of wanting to follow your intuition, knowing what's best for you, following your passion, for example, following your desire, and then feeling that pull of using your brain, because your brain's very, very much, I think, more of a earthly, third dimensional kind of energy of pulling us back into the third dimension. So it's like this contrast of always, you know, unless you're fully aligned and highly vibrational and more connected, you're going to be feeling that pull both ways of, should I follow what I do? But no, this is probably a bad idea because of this and this and that. So it's that duality that we live here on this earth, and that's part of our lessons of our karmic kind of growing.
Yeah, the duality is a big thing, but also the duality is needed for growth, like you said, because if you don't have duality, there's nothing to learn. Like if everything's good, let's say that there's people that say, okay, if you could ask for one thing, what would you ask for? And people will say peace in the world. We would learn nothing from peace in the world. Like I would, you know what? Sounds amazing. Sounds great. Where's the duality and peace for every country and every individual and everything all around? You're not going to learn what niceness is. You're not going to learn what kindness is. You're not going to learn what harmony and peace is, because everybody has that already. It's carrying everywhere. Duality, and that's also why it's permitted The free will is allowed you, it permits you to do mean things, awful things, like lower vibrational
To
things.
choose.
Yeah, you get to choose the free will. At the same time, the duality of seeing someone do something that you don't think is nice or good, it wakes you up to who you really are and what you really believe in. So this duality teaches us constantly from a mental place, but from a spiritual place also, right?
Totally. I also think, from what you were saying, it's the countries, because that's interesting, and I think that also came up in one of the courses that were channeled, where we have to think that a lot of things have contracts. Like, we have a contract in this life, our soul has a contract, because there's lessons we need to learn, there's things that we need to do in this life for when it's over, to then review it and then see what happens in the next life, if that is your case. And then also, like, to think, like, we all physically in this third dimensional world need to be born somewhere, at a specific time with specific parents that we've also chosen, which are all three-dimensional. But also each country, each parent, each group has their contract too. So it's like all these binding contracts between people and places, but realize that certain countries need to go through things too, right? And us to be born in that country to learn specific lessons. So there's so much three-dimensional lessons to be learned through these contracts, right? Like, there's things that need to happen and be present for us to learn our lessons. Otherwise, we're not going to learn them.
I think part of that is also why you're called to certain people. Maybe there's a certain religion you want to help, or certain race you want to help, or a certain country you want to help, or a cause. Yeah. I think that everybody's called to pay attention to something that's happening somewhere that has something to do with what they're here working with, right? So, because sometimes you'll see people getting angry, like, everyone's talking about this and no one's talking about that. Well, maybe you're the one that's supposed to be talking about this. Stop getting angry at everybody else for not talking about it. You're talking about it, and someone else will talk about something else. So it's like, we all have to respect what we all believe needs attention. Like, you and I are giving attention to the spiritual world, and we think that people need to awaken. And, we'll dedicate to this, but we're not going to get angry if other people aren't talking about it.
Exactly, yeah.
Everyone's going to be pushed to awaken other individuals to something. And, yeah, the country you're born into has to do with that also, just like what you're called to has to do with it also, right?
Or why you might feel called to move at some point. Like, I don't want to live here anymore. That happened to us in Uruguay for a while. If we both need to leave, we don't feel attached to this anymore. Yeah. We don't feel connected to it anymore. Not to say that wouldn't change, but yeah, that's how it felt for both of us.
Yeah. And so, yeah, when the body obviously it goes through death, the soul detaches, right? So the body stays in the third dimension, and the soul detaches and moves on to its higher dimensional plane, the fifth dimension. And it ascends. It ascends, and it goes through the process of expansion. It ends up, depending on what was lived in the lifetime, is going to kind of predict what's going to happen right away, because many things can play out. But in normal circumstances, if it was a normal lifetime, not grave things were done, and the soul lived through most of its contract well, then the soul is probably going to ascend and go through the process of expanding, which is, it's cool to think that, like, you're here struggling, but once you're done struggling, because we're struggling, once you're done struggling, when your soul leaves, you're gonna, like, enjoy all the things that you managed to learn in that lifetime.
For sure. Yeah, because that's the only thing that's gonna get you past that point of learning that lesson, if you want to, obviously the free will again, and being able to ascend and keep growing and growing and growing. If you keep getting stuck on the same thing, it's like tripping over the same rock every day. It's like, oh my God, have I not learned my lesson? Like, I'm going to keep tripping over this, and maybe it'll get bigger and there'll be more dirt on it. It's like the same thing with lives, right?
Yeah.
Like we need to learn our lessons, but also I think the way to do that is also have that three-dimensional look of it, like being able to be aware of your surroundings and being able to look around and say, okay, this is a pattern I have. I see it, like I'm using my brain to see that, and I can understand it, and I can talk it out. But what does that mean at a soul level? It's like incorporating both, the duality again, right?
Yeah. And so if everything goes well, and then the important thing to note is that getting stuck or not letting go, being attached to the body. So the whole point of what the masters wanted to get through when I was typing up like points to talk about in this episode, and I had my Akashic Records open, the most important thing that I felt that they wanted to get through was don't get attached. The two things were don't get attached to your body, because your body, first of all, belongs to Earth. And second of all, allow yourself to be respective, to respect that body. Allow yourself to be fully aware of what you really are, what your body really is, and then respect it, right? And so if you get too attached, the first thing that can happen is you get too attached to the body. If you define yourself too much as the body, when death happens, the soul might just get stuck here in the third dimension and not move on. Like the non-belief of, oh my God, my body, no, my body. And you hear stories of like near-death experiences of people saying, no, my body, you know, and watching their body and you know, gone, like not there anymore. It's like an impactful moment for the soul because it still defines itself as that body. But it can be so extreme to the point where the individual decides not to leave the third dimension, and then you're just a soul stuck on the third dimension, which is that's not nice. That's not a nice field trip. Definitely not.
No, and that's not good for your soul, because it won't progress and go to review its life and see what it had to learn and what it didn't learn and what it needs to relearn. But it wastes your time, I guess, in a way, like your soul.
And we have to remember that they don't have time there. Like there's no time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. It's like it's time is a different concept for them, obviously, but you don't want to leave this life feeling like you have attachments.
I think that not having time on the other side, if you're attached on the third dimension, that also means that 300 years can pass and your soul hasn't incarnated on Earth, because for it's been 5 minutes. It's so weird to think that way, right? But supposedly those are the stories. But I also think that
there's other places too. That, you know, I truly believe that, at least it's not just Earth.
No, there's not just Earth. But we're talking about in the case of one of the listeners or us, you know, our bodies coming to its end and being so dramatically attached to your body, defining yourself so much as a body that you're unable to part from the third dimension. So in that case, we are on Earth, and 5 minutes for the soul in that position could be 100 years.
On the third dimension.
On the third dimension, yeah. It's weird to think that.
Yeah, it's very, like, I think when I started to understand that concept of time was with the Akashic Records, because you can connect for an hour with somebody and feel like it was 5 minutes. It's so strange. In the fifth dimension, time.
It does go so really different. Fast. You're right. I never really thought about it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I'll look at the clock. I'll be like, whoa. Like,
yeah, you'll have like a reading, so and the person will be like, "I know we're running out of time." You'll be like, "What?"
Exactly. I'm like, "Oh, really?" I'm in my own world, like just channeling.
That's true. Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. Is funny because they put this through for our channeled information for this episode. They put this through for us to speak about, and we weren't planning on talking about this. Like, it wasn't really something we discussed, but this is exactly how the masters and guides wanted to communicate it. If the body was created to be given, to be fed, or to be given water, air, and vegetation. And they said, that's the original survival plan for the body. That's exactly how they said it. That's exactly like the way they put it through. And I thought, oh, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but okay, let's talk about this. What that means is we're here to ingest water. Our bodies only need water to survive, air to survive, vegetation, which is plant-based diet, I'm guessing, right? No, I'm not guessing. I know. Vegetation means plant-based diet. So asking the masters, does that mean that we're totally off track? Yes, of course. That means that most of us are totally off track. I mean, I don't know about you, but I ate a lot of cheese today.
I still eat meat. That's my thing. And I know I try to cut down it as much as I can now, but, you know, I try to eat as much plants and vegetables, you know, as I can.
Yeah.
But you get tempted. I eat pizza sometimes. No,
I love pizza. Pizza's awesome. Okay.
That's my favorite. If I could just choose one food, it would be pizza and chocolate.
What would I choose?
Probably.
I love gnocchis.
I do love gnocchi too.
And it's potato, so
Pasta.
it's okay.
Italian food.
Yeah, it's potato. It's made of potato and flour. The flour's bad. Okay, yes. And all the tomato sauce I would put on it, it's probably not too great for my acidic levels. But gnocchi's like a nice gnocchi. That's really nice. Okay.
Anyway, back to the vegetation.
Sorry, guys. The fatty in me came out. So yeah, we're totally off track, including myself. I mean, I don't really eat meat. I might eat fish once a week or chicken once a week. I haven't had red meat in 8 years, 7 years, something like that. I lost count a really long time ago. I haven't had, so I had begun reading Akashic Records other individuals. I had gone through that for maybe a few years, maybe 3 years, 4 years. I don't know, because I haven't really noted when I stopped eating red meat, but I know that one day all of a sudden I said, my channel needs an upgrade. Like, that's literally how I woke up feeling. My channel needs an upgrade. I need to expand my like connection, because I had gone to the maximum I could with red meat in my system, and the master said, it's up to you. You can stay where you are as a channeler, or you can take out red meat from your diet and up your game towards Akashic Records, channeling. And I said, okay. And it wasn't just me going, okay. It was, I think they were helping me out, because I started getting a little bit put off by red meat. So I think they were helping me, or either that or my soul was helping me out. But something kind of clicked in me when that message came through. And I literally took red meat out. I think it took about 3 months for the channel to enhance. So that was an eye-opener for me, because to me that meant that for 3 months, my body still had the meat toxins that were blocking the channel. 3 months, that's a lot for the body to get rid of residual toxins from that meat. But I never really Googled it. It must be a common, I don't know how it runs. Maybe it's a blood thing. I'm not totally sure. But from a spiritual aspect, it took me about 3 months to cleanse it out for me to begin to open it a little bit more.
I think this water, air, and vegetation message that was received is like, all you need is to put nutrients into your body. I mean, anything else that we have, well, obviously if you live in a cold climate, you'll need some type of shelter and warmth, like clothes. But I think we're talking at a bodily function, for your body to function and to be able to move and kind of function in a way where it's healthy. Like, that's all you really need. Everything else is depending on your outward environment.
Yeah, well, everything else added on, what I got from it was, everything added on will bring your vibration down and make becoming more aligned a little bit more difficult. That's kind of the way I got it. So again, you have the free will to choose. You can have the 20 pounds of cheese that I would be up for having, like, which is not good at all. But yeah, but at the same time, like, and I've seen the master say that we're also here to enjoy things that the body enjoys. So we're not here to be good,
restrictive
all the time. I think that here the thing is, this should be the main form of your diet, and I think that you should also enjoy, like, for example, you can do Monday to Friday, I respect my body. Saturday and Sunday, I respect my desires and my human experience I'm having, or something, right? Yeah. As an example.
I think maybe it'd be a good idea to maybe go over, because this is something that I've been doing since January, the alkaline diet. So what is that? Because I think Christos and Foster went into it a little bit, but I don't know if we went into all the details. So I'd like to kind of explain what that is and what that means. So an alkaline diet, basically your body has a specific pH level, which Christos went into. So you need to have a specific pH level in your body for it to become, like, for it to align and for it to kind of be healthy. So it'll be less likely that you get sick, or you get some type of illness, or like a cold, or that you can get cancer in your body. Like, that's huge. They say, like, the pH level in your body can affect that. It can basically be a breeding ground. If you're too acidic, you're gonna get more likely sick of something that your body might like be more, like, let's say, genetically more prone to. So what does an alkaline diet do? An alkaline diet helps you regulate your pH levels so you're not so acidic. And what do you need to do with that? It's basically you have to cut out all sugar. So that includes anything like wheat, so like bread, any like, crackers or cookies that have wheat. You can't have almond flour.
Fruit turns into sugar, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's not. It's not. It's fructose. It's not glucose necessarily. It does turn into sugar in your body, but there's certain fruits that you can eat that will probably be better. Like, for example, berries will be better than if you eat a banana or if you eat something else. But those are also nutrients. That's also things that are growing on the earth. So your body does need it. I believe that, at least. Yeah. And I don't restrict myself with that. I obviously am a little bit more careful with sugars, but also dairy. Anything that is dairy will turn into sugar in your body. So that will spike your insulin levels. So it's the same as having a piece of bread. As well, dairy is really bad for your intestines and all that. It blocks up your intestines, which
I did a good job today. I ate cheese, but it was all goat cheese.
Yeah, so that's another thing on the diet that I'm on with all the medicine that I'm taking. Goat milk and goat cheese are okay, and I think Foster said that.
Foster said that, yeah.
Are very depleted, and those are the only two things that I allow myself. And I've actually just got goat cheese the other day, and I put it in my salad.
Is it because goats don't have the same?
It's a different process, I believe,
and also because they don't have like vaccine shots, like because cows have antibiotics in them and probably hormones, right? Things like that. And goats don't?
I think so. But also, like he said, like if you can get unpasteurized, I think he said, milk, then that's okay because it doesn't have all. But it's like, where did that cow, did that cow get injections? What was that cow eating? Because you're eating off of an animal, how were they treated? All of that stuff energetically comes to you as well. But goat cheese, obviously in moderation. You don't want to be having like kilos of it every day. Like, that's still not going to be good for you. Goat milk is okay. I've tried it a few times. Too rich for me. I don't like it. So I just have almond milk.
What do you mean rich? It was too thick.
It was like, I don't like the taste of milk anyway. So it was kind of like too strong. Yeah. It's very strong milk. And then continue with the list. So no dairy, no wheat, no processed sugar. So you're not putting sugar in your coffee. You're not putting sugar. You're using maybe stevia or something like that, a very natural sweetener, or no sweetener at all. And then also no alcohol, which energetically, for anybody that's like on this kind of soul journey, alcohol doesn't really vibe with that anyway. But apparently it changes something in your blood, and it's really not good for you, and that also turns into sugar in your body. So and then like, not eat a lot of red meat. Like, that's not good for your body either, but you're supposed to eat like a lot of fatty foods, like fish rich in omegas, like salmon,
the thing about like what I'm fearful about fish is I don't think our waters are very they're not. I think our waters are very polluted, and if they're polluted, then the fish must not be at optimum health, and then we're consuming that non-optimal health fish. That's my concern. I do like I eat fish, like once a week I'll eat fish or chicken, and the fish, I wonder about it sometimes.
Yeah, I don't have fish that often. And if I buy like tuna in a can, it has to be like mercury free and all that stuff. Like, it's tested for mercury.
I've never even knew that the packs say that.
They have that now.
I didn't know
now
that.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
There's not.
I want to talk about red meat for a second, because it's not just. I'm not just saying the red meat thing because you're not supposed to eat meat. The information that I get from the masters and guides is that, and I don't know the technical reason behind it. I know the message behind it and what they told me. And it's that red meat, when you're eating red meat, you're actually eating that animal's karma. Red meat has something that it contains the animal's life, and it contains what they felt. Like if the animal died in fear, you're eating their fear. At some point, your body's going to, it's going to seep into your body. I'm not sure exactly how, but that's how it functions. If they died, in anger, you're eating anger. They say that people that eat meat have a tendency to get like more switched quicker, and it has to do with that.
They can get triggered.
Yeah, triggered. There you go. It has to do with that, the red meat thing, and so it's the worst form of meat that we can eat from a spiritual aspect. I'm talking about, right?
Okay. Yeah, I've heard you say that before. I think I'm not on that journey as of yet. I do feel the pull lately to eat less red meat and eat more like vegetarian stuff. I've even cooked vegetarian meals, but in general, yeah, I mean that's what the alkaline diet is. It's, cutting all the processed food, eating as whole as possible, cutting out dairy and things that are processed and sugars. So
it's not that easy to eat healthy, is it? Because nowadays, even if you eat vegetables,
after 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, even when you're eating, yeah, I agree. That's why
there's
think
like a
that
catch to everything these days.
There is a catch to everything, and organic isn't necessarily organic. Like even
I think Foster's and Christos talked about that too. Yeah, they did.
Exactly, I believe that totally, and I know that's true. But you do the best you can.
Yeah,
that's what I believe in, and I think this is a time for everybody to take their health seriously, because I mean, obviously we're talking about soul contracts in the human body and health, but it is an important thing to think about right now.
So,
because how are we going to resist all these changes that are coming if we're not in this healthy vessel?
I don't want people to become obsessive. Like maybe they hear the episode and they feel like a little bit of obsession towards checking to see what they're eating. Let's point out that the human body was created with taste buds. So we're actually here to enjoy what we're eating. We're not here just to every day, like I said before, every day to only eat vegetables and breathe air and drink water. You're also here to enjoy your taste buds. What the Akashic Records and Masters always said was, there's a limit to how much you can enjoy. After that, it's becoming indulgence, and it actually turns into karma that we carry on to like future life incarnations. Like you mistreated your body because you overate this, or you overate that, or you overdrank this, or overdrank that. And so enjoy your taste buds, and don't become so obsessed with what you're eating, but find like a nice balance where you have more days, more days of treating your body well and a few days of enjoying your taste buds is the best way I would put it.
Yeah, and I also believe, because that's how I've been living for the last few months, just because you don't eat processed food or sugar doesn't mean you can't eat delicious stuff. Like I'm going to go make a banana bread with no sugar in a little bit. And it might have a little bit of chocolate in it, but I always try and buy dark chocolate and try to buy dairy-free chocolate as much as possible. Obviously now a lot of supermarkets are like, having trouble stocking things, but work with what you have too.
If they ever told me that I had to stop eating chocolate to be a better channel, I'd be like, sorry, I'm just going to continue to be a bad channel. I would have never said no to I can say no to red meat, but I cannot say no to chocolate. No.
I agree with what you're saying though. This is not about being obsessive, because the moment something becomes obsessive, it becomes
unhealthy.
A karmic issue, right? Like a lesson that you need to get over or review or somehow manage, because that's not what it's about. It's more about survival and also indulging a little bit and letting yourself live your life and be happy and listen to yourself.
Yeah. So I think that's the gist of what we wanted to discuss about the body, but I think that I just want to bring it out again to make sure that everybody understood it. Your body isn't you. You're a soul that's being lent this body in this incarnation, this one, in another incarnation, probably another one. But you're being lent this body right now to carry it to help you complete your karmic contract. And all those things that your soul planned, all those amazing things and hard experiences that your soul planned to have in this lifetime. Try to take care of it as much as possible. Try to respect it as much as possible. But also respecting it, like we said, is also enjoying it at the same time. Just don't find a nice balance between those. But don't forget that you're a soul from a fifth dimension enjoying a human third dimensional experience.
I love it. That's like perfect. Perfect.
Mic drop. Boom.
Yeah, mic drop. Yeah. So, yeah, I think Lucia just summed that up perfectly, the whole episode in like a few sentences. We hope you guys have a good week. We really hope this information helps you in some way. I know there's a lot of information going on about coronavirus and everything, and we thought this was a good episode to really see it in a different way, like where are we, where we're standing, and also see the fact that what we're going through right now is something three-dimensional, and that we have to vibrate higher than this.
The soul's not sick.
Like the soul is not sick. And a lot of us need to get through this in a different way. Maybe it's changing things, maybe it's changing our diet, maybe it's changing our outlook, maybe it's being pushed into certain directions like I was. Like, it will happen differently for everybody, but we need to find the meaning behind it. So we hope this helps. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact us on the form on our website. As well, be sure to follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is @soul_tribe_podcast. We'll definitely update you guys on the Patreon once we have that set up. And we have tons of really cool things planned for that. And we're really excited to start working on that content now that we have more time. And yeah, we'll be coming back next week with a new episode. So make sure you subscribe to us on Spotify or iTunes or whatever platform you're on. As well, we're going to get up to date on our YouTube channel. So we'll have all the episodes that are on our podcast platform on YouTube. So feel free to follow us there and subscribe, which will help us. And share this episode with anybody that you think might benefit from the information. This helps us grow, helps us get our message out there, and really helps the collective consciousness, which is our main goal here, to help everybody in the collective consciousness kind of grow and elevate higher.
Yeah. And if you guys could like possibly leave a review for us like on iTunes, or it would be great, because we can be found more easily for those that are looking for podcasts that can help them out in the way we're trying to help out people. It would be really kind of you guys to do that, and we would really appreciate it.
Yeah, that would really support the podcast so much, and we pour all of our heart into this. So, anything you guys can help us with, we would greatly appreciate it. So we hope you guys have a great week, and we will be back next week with a new episode. I think it's an interview, if I'm not mistaken. So we hope to connect with you then. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.